All right. Looks like I'm live here. See how long the lag is on this one. It's been doing okay lately, so I don't think it'll be too bad. It was taking a little bit. There we go. All right. All right. Okay. I think it's good. Anyway, the news today, big news, had another announcement. They've been getting gradually more insane, I feel. I mean, there's really, we already hit rock bottom, so this one's kind of not even shocking anymore. Like at this point, you kind of saw this one coming. It was a lot of people speculated for a long time during the election, and ever since RFK joined the campaign, everyone was like, "Well, what's he going to get?" Trump said he was going to let him go hog wild on the healthcare industry and on the food industry and all of this stuff, health services, whatever, medical. He's going to let him tear it to pieces. And here we are. He's nominated him for the Secretary of Health and Human Services, which controls a lot of stuff. It's, I don't even know. Are they in charge of the FDA? I'm not sure. I'd have to look this up. Education. Well, no, they're not in charge of education. I'm not going to read through now. Here we go. So they're in charge of the FDA, the CDC, the National Institute of Health, the Administration for Children and Families, ACF. I don't even know that was a thing. And then Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. So that's, quite a bit. FDA, CDC are probably two big ones there. And then the NIH. Kind of a big deal. RFK is now apparently going to be running all of those things. I mean, there's one giant caveat here, which is, can he get confirmed? And apparently this one's a little different. I guess with the other ones, you just got to get confirmed by the Senate, right? With a simple majority in the Senate, you're confirmed, you're good to go. I think with this one, you actually have to go before committees. I don't know if they are just advisory or if they can actually veto. But because they're like in charge of, or the Secretary of HHS is in charge of Medicare and Medicaid. They have to go through these two committees first, which is the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, and then the United States Senate Committee on Finance. So I don't know. I don't know if they just go to those committees and then they advise the Senate, or if they can actually get stopped just right there in the committee. I heard some people that made it sound like, yeah, they can stop them in the committee, so it might not even make it to the Senate, which wouldn't be shocking because this is probably the craziest of all of them. And I know like the Tulsi thing to me is probably the craziest, or the Matt Gaetz one. Those were already like jumping the shark with those picks, especially Tulsi, in my view. Like that was even more, like Matt Gaetz is kind of a scumbag and he's a little loopy. And he's got all these accusations against him, but at least you're going to like look at it. Well, I don't know. I can't even look at that one as like a sane pick. I can't even put myself in that person's shoes. I've listened to MAGA people talk about him. They're like, oh, well, he's going to do the thing we want and just come after all these people, because they view it as like all this shit that happened to Matt Gaetz was unfair and people, it was all made up. They were targeting him because they hate him because he's a loudmouth and all of this stuff. And then the same thing with Tulsi. They're like, oh, well, she's great because the intelligence agencies came after her and unfairly prosecuted her, which is fucking bullshit. Like there's good reasons to think Tulsi might be an issue, a security issue. I mean, hell, I even saw in the news today, apparently they were joking on like a Russian television network, a Russian news station, about Tulsi being a Russian asset. And this was the Russians saying that. They were making jokes about that. They're like, yeah, she probably is. Like, I mean, shit. Anyway, back to RFK. He's in certain ways even crazier because I don't even know that the MAGA people, I mean, I guess I don't know. They're so fucking weird. They're all into every conspiracy under the sun. So maybe they do think, all the chemicals and the, how do you do RFK's voice? He's like, the vaccines are making the children retarded. And the fluoride in the water, there was no chronic health conditions before fluoride in the water. and I drink pure distilled water and grain alcohol, and look at me, I'm in perfect shape. So, yeah, I don't know about this one. It's a little wacky. And it's wacky even to like regular conservatives. I would think. I keep waiting for like I go and listen to conservative commentators, like just waiting with bated breath for them to like have something critical to say of any of these picks. There were a few that were like, well, yeah, I don't know about Matt Gaetz. That's kind of weird. And some of them were like, yeah, the Tulsi thing, but this is what they're going to do. And they try and explain it away. Even like some pretty more normal people, or who I thought were more normal people, uh, they were taking it in stride. With this one, I don't see how you could do it. It's so ridiculous. This was the thing people were making fun of him for. And as it was happening, in the election, they were like, no, it's never going to happen. Never going to happen. He's not going to be in charge of the HHS. Now, maybe he's not really going to be. He won't be confirmed or whatever. And this is just like some kind of a ploy. I don't know. Maybe Trump promised him this and Trump gave it to him knowing that he would never actually get it. That could be. It was just that he wanted him to endorse him. And so he made this promise that he knew could never be made good upon. The other thing it might be is a power play, just like with Tulsi and Matt Gaetz. It might just be, kind of a dare to the Senate, like a fuck you. I'm going to try and push this and see how far I can go. Just like see what I can get away with. See how much I can get out of these senators. Like, can I actually just bully them into pushing RFK through? Because if he can do that, he can do fucking anything. Because I feel like this is such an obvious one, such a nonpartisan thing where they could not confirm this guy, just because it's so obviously like the stuff he talks about is ridiculous. He wants to get rid of childhood vaccines, like all of them. Now maybe he's going to go in and just try and do studies to prove the shit he's saying first. I don't know. Does he have the powers to rip the plug out and not let any of that shit happen, or outright ban all of it? I'm not really sure. I would assume not. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but all the doctors I know think this guy's batshit. So I would expect out of all of them, this is the easiest one. This would be the easiest one for them to just say, no, sorry. You're not only are you not qualified for it, not only that, but the stuff you're saying is completely antithetical to everything that every expert, nonpartisan, bipartisan experts, they can bring in, whoever they want, and they'll explain that like this is ridiculous. You can't have this guy. It would be so easy to not confirm him. And it could be, another one of those things. Maybe that's why he tranched out these picks in sort of, he did it like in the order of like most sane and palatable and good like picks, all the way down to like the most insane. So like what's left after this? I mean, there's nothing really that important. I mean, that Kash Patel guy is probably going to get FBI. That's not really that shocking compared to this kind of a thing. So I don't know what would be else or what else it would be. And so maybe that's why he did it that way. He kind of went down in order and each one is kind of a dare. And so like, okay, maybe they're not going to approve RFK and they'll spend all their time trying to explain why. But then they kind of either have to choose between Gaetz or Tulsi and which one of them they're going to go. And then they probably can't, veto any of the other ones. Not that they would. Like, no, none of the other ones are. I wouldn't put any of the other ones, even Pete Hegseth, which they all talk about. I wouldn't put him in the same category as like the Matt Gaetz, Tulsi, and RFK picks. Those are their own little like category. The Pete Hegseth thing, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe he's a little underqualified and all of that. It's an unusual pick. It's odd. But it's not in the same. He's not in the same camp as Marco Rubio. He's not that exceptional and like normal, but he's not in the camp of these other three. These other three, it's unimaginable to me that RFK or any of them really would get approved. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. All right, let's see. I'm not going to go on too long. I don't have a lot to say about RFK. There's not a lot to say about him. Not a lot to say about him. He's got a lot of quacky conspiracy theories about food and medicine and stuff. So, and, illness. Kind of a crazy guy. He also has, it's one of those things with conspiracies. You never just believe one. It's never just like, oh, I just think the moon landing was fake. It's never that. It's always like they believe in a whole shitload of them. So, like with RFK, he also is into all the stuff about his uncle JFK. He thinks the CIA killed him, and that's something Trump's talked about. He's talked about declassifying the investigation into the assassination of JFK, which I'm guessing is just completely mundane. It's probably classified in order to protect. And I think Trump even said this. It's just to protect like the personal information of certain individuals, basically. That's probably, more than half of all the classified stuff is like, we just don't want to leak people's names and personal details in the comments that they made in order that they don't, get harassed or threatened or something. Schizo's in full control. Trust the plan. Trust the plan. I have a feeling, I don't know. I go back and forth. I feel like there's going to be some Republican senators that stand up to this. There has to be. It's gotten to, it's like I said, they've let this win go to their heads to where they think they can get away with anything. And there's all the people telling us, oh, it's going to be just like the first time. It's going to be like just like the first time he was in office. It's going to be all the regular people, normal people. It's not going to be any of these crazy people. And all the other people were saying, like, I don't know, man. Like, he's saying it's not going to be like that. He's saying it's like, I learned my lesson. And I only went diehards. And everyone was like, maybe he's going to, in order to get diehard loyalists, he's probably going to have to scrape the bottom of the barrel a little bit. Because, for one thing, the stuff he wants people to do, most competent, skilled, talented people are not going to want to do it. He's going to have to go find some of the dregs. And like some of these people, I guess he just owed him a favor, like Tulsi and RFK, for endorsing him. Matt Gaetz, it was just straight up like, I just need that guy. And with the Pete Hegseth thing, I think it's probably a lot of people just didn't want to work with him. Like Tom Cotton just said, no, I don't want to do it. Pompeo, his supporters basically forced out and were like, no, you can't have him. And then who are you left with? Like, does anyone else even want to work with you? Maybe you got to go get the Fox News guy. And it could be that he's attracted to him because of the stuff that he said he wants to do. A lot of people have pointed out, like, he's kind of got a good overarching understanding of some broad problems. My problem is, like, nothing I've heard from Pete Hegseth is anything that, like, I haven't said or 95% of anyone who pays attention to this kind of shit has ever said about the military. Like, yeah, the woke stuff in the military is bad. Thanks for that expert insight. Like, wonderful. I don't know. I still haven't read his book. Maybe there's more to it. I have heard him talking, but it was always like kind of broad stuff where he's like, he'll complain about like our technological offset, the third offset strategy. He's talking about like, oh, we need to improve on that aspect because we're fighting, the last generation's war. This is a really common complaint you hear from people. The bitch about the aircraft carriers. What good are our aircraft carriers? We're trying to blow them up with 15 missiles. They're hypersonic missiles. I mean, man, I won't get into all that. I won't go back and forth on it, but it's kind of, I would be more impressed if it was someone who had actually been working in the defense industry for, decades or something, or at least running some massive organization and had other, I don't know. I've already bitched about him. I don't mind him. I really cannot complain about him. He looks fantastic compared to these other people. He's like a golden boy. Thought Tulsi was bad. Then we got Matt Gaetz and now RFK Jr. The shit show continues. He's insane. Yeah. But the good news is there's really nothing else that is very important that's left. There's like, I guess the FBI director. We already got the CIA guy, right? So everything else is like what? The VA guy, Secretary of the Interior. I guess Treasury is pretty important. Do we know who the Secretary of the Treasury is? I don't know. Transportation. Yeah, who cares? If Pete Buttigieg can do transportation, anybody can. Surgeon General, the HUD secretary. Who cares? Had a worm in his brain. Yeah, apparently. They've been talking about that and the dead bear carcass, and like he sawed the head off a whale or something. He likes to mutilate animal corpses quite a bit, seems like. I guess the bear he wasn't mutilating. He was trying to, he wanted to take it home and skin it, and then he just dumped it in Central Park as a joke. Kind of funny. Could be recess appointed. Yeah, that seems like why Trump wanted that. Because, like I said, that's a weird thing to ask from your own party. You shouldn't need that when your own party's in control. But he probably will, at least for a couple of these. I'd be shocked if they just rubber stamp every single one of these. And are like, maybe they're just going to be like, here's the rope, go hang yourself, and just rubber stamp all these. Like, good luck having these crazy people run these departments. Have fun with that. And they just let the shit show go. I could see him doing it, but I could also see some people like Mitch McConnell. There's been several senators that said they don't like the Matt Gaetz pick. They're pissed about that one. I don't think they're going to like the RFK pick. They seem oddly more tolerant of Tulsi for some reason, which is weird to me. But people like, Mitch McConnell, he's got nothing to lose, Mitch McConnell. If he really just is all about serving the country and wants what's best for us, he's probably going to say no and not vote in favor of him because he's not running again. What's he got to lose? There's probably some other guys that are already not running again. MAGA now make polio great again. Yeah, I've seen some people saying that. I don't know. I feel like he's not going to make it. And if he does, like, what would happen if RFK took over that department? I feel like everyone would just quit. If you're a doctor, there's no fucking way you're going to work for that guy. And people said this about Matt Gaetz, too. They were like, if you're a lawyer, you're not going to go work for that dude. There's no fucking way. Make AIDS great again. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Hopefully he doesn't outlaw all of the junk food. That's kind of what he seems to hate junk food and even just regular food. He's like, which is kind of odd because, Trump loves McDonald's. What if RFK, bans the Big Mac? What's he going to do? Anyway, that's all I got. I was just going to express my kind of shock and awe, but I don't have any shock and awe because it's all gone after yesterday, or was that the day before? Whatever. It's been sapped out of me. Nothing will surprise me anymore. Maybe my pillow guy could be Secretary of the Treasury. That could be interesting. I'm here for it. So I'll catch you later. Have a great night.